So you've been thinking about moving, and as you've been thinking about moving, you punch into Google search, I want to move to Tennessee, and you're really not sure what area in Tennessee you want to move. We're going to take a look at two cities today. We're going to look at Knoxville and we're going to look at Nashville, and we're going to kind of talk through all the pros and cons of like what those two cities look like, compare the two, let you know a little bit about housing and cost of living and just all the things as it relates to Knoxville and Nashville. Let's get started. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about Tennessee and the Middle Tennessee market, feel free to click the subscribe button, click the bell for notification, and then you'll get notified every single time we upload a new video. I'm Michael, and Joshua, Caleb, James, David, our team, we get calls from people just like you every single week looking to make their move to the Tennessee area, and they have questions. And if that's you and you have questions, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and we'll gladly help you find a place where you can live, work, and play, or just answer questions if that's all you really need. Okay, so let's get started. We are diving into a look at Knoxville versus Nashville. They're two different areas, completely different markets, and one may be better than the other. We're going to take a look at both of them today, and then you can make a decision on maybe this is the place for you, or maybe this is not the place for you. I personally live, work, and play in the Nashville market, but my wife and I, we love to go to Knoxville as well, and we actually love to go to Gatlinburg. We actually have a condo in Gatlinburg, and that's a great part of the country as well. Great part of Tennessee. It's completely different as far as the landscape. It's definitely different as far as the cost of living. And we're going to take a look at that today as we compare the two. Well, let's dive right in. We're going to start with looking at the population differences between Knoxville and Nashville. Let me hit this right here. And you can take a look right here. Knoxville, the metro area. We're going to take a look at the metro area, not just the city itself of Knoxville and the city itself of Nashville. We're going to look at the surrounding counties and the metro area around each of those two. So as we dive right in, we're going to look first at the current metro area population in Knoxville as far as where we're at 2023 is around 784,000. It's a 1.69% increase from 2022. As you can see, over the past several years, there's been about a little bit over 2% to 2.5% increase year over year of people moving into the Knoxville area. Now, looking at the population of Nashville, you can see that the current metro area population of Nashville in 2023 is 1.3 million. It's a 1.62% increase from 2022 and has very similar numbers as Knoxville does as far as over the past 3 or 4 years. There's been about a 2% increase year over year of people moving to the Nashville metro area. Now that we've looked at the population differences, and you can see that Nashville is double the size or more than double the size of Knoxville. And with that come some differences in cost of living and differences in the number of houses that are available, and just the area is laid out a bit different as well. If you're in Knoxville, you're really not stuck, but wedged between the Cumberland Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains. It's kind of like a valley, and it's more mountainous area. It's really close to the Great Smoky Mountains, and it's just really a more mountain type town, and it's limited in the square miles because of it sitting in that valley. Nashville is more in Middle Tennessee, and by it being in Middle Tennessee, there are rolling hills and is still on the foothills of the mountains, but it's nowhere near the Appalachian Mountains and that kind of stuff. It's about 3 to 4 hours away from Knoxville. Now that we've looked at the population differences between Nashville and Knoxville, let's take a look at cost of living and housing and some of the other things that are related to the two cities. As you can see, Knoxville is about half the size of Nashville. And even though it's half the size, part of it is related to where its geographical location is. Being on the east side of Tennessee, it is right at the foot of the mountains. It's in a valley between the Cumberland Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains. By being in that valley, it's kind of somewhat landlocked. So with it being landlocked, it's completely different than Nashville, which is more sprawled out across Middle Tennessee in the Middle Tennessee area. It's more at the foothills, rolling hills, if you want to call them that, in the middle of Tennessee. And we're going to take a look at the terrain. We're going to look at the weather and different pieces of how these two cities are different. But as we do, I want to make sure you kind of understand that Knoxville is in a different cost of living market than Nashville for several reasons. One of them being its location on the east side of the state near the mountains. Okay, before we keep going, I wanted to point out that there are a couple of places that you're going to want to visit in Knoxville and a couple of places you're going to want to visit in Nashville. Stick around to the end of the video and we'll share those with you, because you're going to want to make sure that you get some good food, great entertainment. And Knoxville and Nashville both have, we're going to talk about all kinds of things about that, but they have some key places that you're going to want to visit. Make sure you stick around for the end of the video. Okay, so let's jump back into it. We're going to take a look at the weather in the two cities. And there's not a huge difference in weather between the two cities, but there is a little bit of difference. Humidity is a little different. Climate is a little bit, few degrees different in the two cities, one being closer to the mountains, other one being more in the middle of the state, low rolling hills kind of area. First of all, Knoxville, the monthly average temperatures. Let's take a look. Overall, January 40s, 50s in February, 50s and 60s in March and April. Get into the summer months, you're looking at 80, 85, 90. Those are kind of the highs. Lows get down low January to February in the 30s. Now, keep in mind, we used to live in Michigan, and when we lived in Michigan, it was more of a dry cold, so it could get down in the teens, and it felt cold for sure. It did feel cold, but it was more of a dry cold. If you look here, you can see the average humidity, even in the winter months, are 76, 77, and that humidity creates, with 30-degree weather, it creates an amazing bone-chilling cold here in Tennessee. So that's Knoxville. Let's look at a couple of other things. The average precipitation in each month runs 9, 10, you can see 11. Get into a couple of months where it's 12 or 13 days worth of precipitation, depending on what month you're in. But on average, the precipitation, rain in the summer months and the spring months and the fall months is about 9 to 12 days. As far as winter snowfall, you're going to look at, you see there's 2 in January, 1 average day in February, and then in December gets 1. So you're only looking at somewhere between 2 and 4 days a year that even could potentially get snow here in the Knoxville area. Let's look at Nashville. Nashville's very similar. You're looking at that same humidity as 75, 76, through the winter months, which creates that bone-chilling cold. The highs 40s and the lows, low 30s for the winter months. Continuing through summer months, you're looking at 80s and 90s for the summers. We do have some hot days that are really hot, upper 90s, and just like anywhere in the South. Humidity definitely plays a big part, because you can sit and basically sweat without even moving, because the humidity is so high here in the South. Let's look at the average snow days. Are very similar. Sometimes in the middle of the state, which is here in Nashville, you do get different snow that's coming across the plains from the west, and that can lay out a little bit different. The interesting thing about snow in the South, though, now I grew up originally in Georgia, so we had the same similar situation where if it snowed, it pretty much shut everything down because they just don't have the snow plows and the equipment to handle snows. And there's typically a lot of ice because of that humidity that we talked about. That's completely different from when you're living in the north, like when I lived in Michigan, where we lived there, and if it was going to threaten to snow and it was going to be snowing overnight, the salt trucks would start at about 11 p.m. and they would run all night long, salting the roads, getting everything prepared, knowing that there's going to be a massive snowstorm coming. It's completely different from the South, where in the South, it's just, hey, it's going to snow. Go get your bread. Go get your eggs. Armageddon's coming. It's like everything's going to shut down, and we're going to have several days off of school just because they think it's going to snow. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the cost of living comparison and kind of break down the differences between Knoxville and Nashville. And we'll start with a chart, and then once we hit the chart that kind of goes over all of those, we're going to break each of those down from, not all of them, but housing and some of the different things that you can do in the area and that kind of stuff. So let's take a look here, do that. And you can take a look at the cost of living between Nashville and Knoxville. The overall index is 13% less in Knoxville. Now, this includes, homeowner taxes aren't considered, childcare is not considered, but looking at food and groceries, the food and groceries are a little bit higher in Nashville. Housing, definitely higher. The national average across the country, Nashville is about 113%. And, so if 100 is the national average, Nashville's 13% higher, and Knoxville is at 75. So it's 25% lower. That creates a big disparity between the housing and how much housing is in the two areas. Now, don't get me wrong. You can get into Farragut, which is near Knoxville, and Farragut is every bit as expensive as, say, Franklin in the Nashville market. There's houses that are over $1 million in Knoxville just because you're in that certain part of Knoxville, which is more of a upscale area around Knoxville. Let's keep looking, and you can see that the average or the median home cost in the Nashville market is at about $413,000 versus Knoxville, which is at $314,000. That's huge when you're looking at the cost of housing between the two areas. Most of Knoxville, when you get outside of Knoxville proper and say Farragut, Maryville, and some of those areas, you get outside of that and you're really more in the rural areas, and that really drives the price down because it's a little bit further out, and by being further out, it makes it less expensive. To get further out in the Nashville market, you really have to go a good 45 minutes to an hour away from Nashville to get anywhere near housing costs that are going to be lower than that median that we just talked about at 413. Okay, and as you can see, the transportation, both the cost of cars and the cost of gas, is better in the Knoxville market by about 18%. Healthcare is about even. Knoxville's a little bit less. And just looking overall, you can see that the cost of living is a little bit less in the Knoxville market than it is in the Nashville market, mainly because Nashville is a thriving market that a lot of people are moving to because of big tech is moving here. And I don't want to dismiss Knoxville from that standpoint, because there are a lot of companies that are moving to the Knoxville area as well. And we'll kind of talk through some of those as we're moving along. Nashville ends up having more opportunity as it relates to a number of houses that are available and the people that are constantly moving here, mostly because of maybe the music industry or big tech moving here, or some of the reasons that people just want to live in a town that has more entertainment value, more entertainment ability. And that's some of the reasons that people tend to lean towards moving to Nashville. So let's take a look at the two and compare both Knoxville and Nashville as it relates to best places to raise a family. And we're going to go to niche.com and take a look there at their statistics. And we've rated, basically Niche rates different areas around all over the country. And here's how Knoxville fares. It says Farragut is the #1 place to raise a family in the Knoxville area. And we're going to kind of go through the top 10 here. Maryville, Oak Ridge, Alcoa, Norris, Louisville, in Knoxville, Loudon, Tellico Village, and Seymour. These areas are going to be the best. And it's basically, if you look, the overall niche rate grade includes things like public schools, good for families, parks, population density. Those are kind of what they're looking at when they're looking at rating these different areas around the Knoxville area. Let's compare that with the Nashville market. In the Nashville market, best places to raise a family based on schools and good for families and parks and just the general area. #1 came up as Nolensville. #2, Brentwood. #3, Franklin. #4, Thompson Station. #5, Oak Hill, Forest Hills, Mount Juliet's #7, Spring Hills #8, Hendersonville's #9, and the North Capital area, which is called Sulphurdale, that's #10. So there's right rounding out the top 10 on the best places to live in the Nashville market. Gives great schools, great areas with parks and lots of things to do around the Nashville area for families, for sure. Since we talked about the best places to raise families, I wanted to drill down a little bit and talk through the schools in each of those two areas. Now, you can look up all this information on your own on niche.com. You can also go to greatschools.org. They'll give good information about the schools and the school districts and different places. There are plenty of good schools in both Knoxville and Nashville, and you really need to take a look for yourself. Dive into the areas, look at the school systems if that's important to you as you are raising a family and making sure that your kids get the best quality education. So let's take a look at that, and we'll take a look in the Knoxville area. The #1 school district is Maryville, and want to make sure you understand it's not Maryville, it's Maryville. And Tennessee has that problem of not being able to pronounce all the letters in a specific city. It's all across the whole state. It's not just Maryville. So as we're looking at schools, Maryville's #1, Oak Ridge #2, Farragut #3, Alcoa, Clinton, Norris, Loudon, Tellico Village, Knoxville, and Lenoir City. Those are some of the key school systems with, A's and high B's as far as the schools you want to be a part of and take a look at. If you're a family and need to move to the Nashville area, the A-graded schools are in Nolensville, Brentwood, Franklin, Thompson Station, Hendersonville, Shackle Island, Gallatin, Murfreesboro. I did a video the other day on Murfreesboro. Murfreesboro actually has the #6 magnet school in the country. It's the #1 high school in the state of Tennessee and the #6 magnet school in the entire country. So Murfreesboro is definitely up there on the list. Millersville and White House. Okay, so now that we've looked at the schools, let's take a look at housing. Let me get this moved over here. You can see that over the past 5 years in the Knoxville market, let's do that right there. Okay. In the Knoxville market, we've gone from an average median home price of about $215,000 up to about $315,000. And that increase over the past 3 to 5 years has been indicative of what's happened across the country for sure. But here in the Knoxville market, it is at the median is about 315. There's been a slight dip here in 2023, but not a whole lot. It's really kind of holding steady at that 300 to 350 range for the average or the median house price. Now, related to Nashville, if you look at it, the Nashville median, I said earlier is 413. If you look at in the Nashville market directly, and you can go kind of around town and look at different areas, but in the downtown or the Nashville market, it's at 460,000. Franklin is up close to 800,000 or 900,000. And all over Middle Tennessee, you're going to get different median sales prices, but it's going to range right around that 400 to 500,000, which is several $100,000 more than it is in the Knoxville market. Let's show you and compare the two. You can see that as it relates to the two markets, going back 2018, there's roughly 150, 200, it goes out as you're looking at the numbers go up 200, so 100,000 more, 150,000 more, 150, all the way up into 2023, where the Nashville market's holding quite steady in August 2023. And, I don't think that you're seeing much of a dip in Knoxville either, but people are still moving into Tennessee, no matter whether it's Knoxville or Nashville. Okay, so let's take a look now, kind of dive in a little bit deeper into two specific areas. If you're talking about two of the most highly sought after areas in Tennessee, then let's look at the Knoxville market and the most highly, like where everybody wants to move, and where everybody wants to move in the Nashville market. And that is in Farragut. And we're going to compare Farragut with Franklin. They're very similar in their layout. They're very similar in what they offer as far as housing. And there's a lot more housing available in Franklin than there is in Farragut. But let's look at these. You can kind of see this map of the different houses. And like I said, there's still houses that are available, 600s and 400s and 300s and 400s, and it goes all the way up. There's a 1.6 million, 1.65 million, 1,770,000. Let's compare that with Franklin. And Franklin, in the Franklin market, right around the Franklin market, you have everything from 700. I mean, you're not there's a 487, not very many. There's a 350. This is likely look at that. There's a 350,000, one bedroom, one bath, 725 square feet. Like, to get into a house, there's a 5-bedroom. Let's go to, there's a 650, 690. There's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 689. And over here, let's get to 699. And there's a 6-bedroom, 3-bath. 4,000 square feet in Franklin market's going to be super expensive. So comparing the two, you can see that all over the different areas, there is definitely a price difference. There's some here that are 3.2 million, 2.95. Here's a 37. You need a $37 million 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath. You can check that one out for sure. All right, so let's dive into a little bit different things. And we're going to talk about several things from the area and what each of the two areas offer in food and, bars, honky tonks, entertainment, and stuff like that. Okay, so let's dive into the thing that everybody else wants to know, which not only the schools and is it a great place to raise a family and what the cost of living is, but let's talk about what there is to do. Now, I will tell you that, one, I am a little biased. I live in the Nashville market, but if you're comparing the two as far as entertainment and food and bars, and you're going to be limited in Knoxville. Now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that there's not food available in bars and honky tonks and different things to do in entertainment. There are some great things to do. Knoxville has just down the road in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Dollywood. Dollywood is a great place. We just took our family to Dollywood. It was an amazing time. It's definitely a great park if you want to go to it. It's green all the time. It's very well manicured, taken care of, lots of rides and roller coasters, and you can definitely take your family and have a lot of fun there. As a matter of fact, it's one of my favorite parks to go to. In addition to that, Knoxville also has right up the road the Great Smoky Mountains. If you didn't know this, the Great Smoky Mountains are the #1 national park that is most visited in the United States. Yes, over Yellowstone, over everything else, the Great Smoky Mountains are #1. That's right down the road from Knoxville as well. If you're like outdoor activities and a lot of things to do outdoor, Knoxville has whitewater rafting, horseback riding, hiking. I mean, right up the road, you got the Appalachian Trail. You can hike for days and days and weeks if you really want to. Another thing that Knoxville has is it has the Tennessee River, and that's dammed up in certain places that offers lake life, and there's a lot of lake life in Knoxville. That doesn't dismiss the fact that there aren't any lakes in Nashville. There are 2 lakes in Nashville, Old Hickory Lake and Percy Priest Lake. They have boating and all the activities as well. Nashville does have Nashville Shores, which is an outdoor water park right on the lake. And then Opryland in Nashville has an indoor water park called Sound Waves if you ever wanted to come to Nashville and have an indoor water park. So there are things to do in both, and entertainment, water sports, different things. Nashville does offer a lot of hiking to waterfalls. We're just like 20 minutes. Nashville's about 20 minutes from the Natchez Trace, which is a road that goes from Nashville all the way to Mississippi. And it's a beautiful drive with lots of waterfalls and hiking trails and things to do there as well. Okay, so I want to dive into some of the entertainment and different things that you can do. We're going to start with food. Now, Knoxville has a place called Market Square, and it is downtown. It is a couple of blocks of great entertainment and food, and that's where a lot of the bars are. If you're looking at sports, downtown, that's where UT Knoxville is. There aren't any pro teams there, and we'll talk about Nashville in a few minutes, and that's where the pro teams are. So you are missing out on the pro sports thing, but it's only about a 3.5 hour drive to go to Nashville. It's also another 3.5 to 4 hours to get to Atlanta. There's pro sports in both of those towns. So that may be an option for you if you're really into the pro sports, but Knoxville's not going to have that for sure. So let's look at the food. You can see that they have some great restaurants downtown. You're looking at Ruby Sunshine, Stock and Barrel, Tupelo Honey. There's a Tupelo Honey Southern Kitchen there. Lots of great, the Brass Pearl, and there's some great bar and grill type restaurants. A lot of high-end restaurants there as well. And let's take a look at Nashville. You look at Nashville, this is just Broadway. You can broaden this out a good bit and hit East Nashville and other areas of Nashville, but just in the downtown area, you have several restaurants. Hattie B's Hot Chicken and Hard Rock Cafe. You got Broadway Brew House, Mellow Mushroom Pizza, Rupee's Honky Tonk. There's a lot of places to eat in the Broadway area. You can, here's Union Station. Lots of places. Jeff Ruby Steakhouse. Lots of great steakhouses downtown. You don't want to miss out on one that I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes in downtown Nashville. Okay, let's dive into some entertainment. There's sports saloons, and this is Knoxville, in the Market Square area. Downtown Grill and Brewery, Hip to Be Square Comedy Club, Kitchen and Bar, Oliver Hotel. Here's a pub, Preservation Pub. Let's compare that with the downtown. Oops. Yep. Okay. Looking at the downtown area, you have band entertainment, you have escape rooms, you have the Bridgestone Arena, which is where the Predators play, Country Music Hall of Fame. There's some museums downtown. Here's a park, Cumberland Park. Ooh, that's indoor go-karts if you want to do that. And then, there we go, Cumberland Park. There it is. There's a park right downtown. Here's the Capitol area right here. There's a big park right there. Lots of things to do in the downtown market in Nashville. It's just a different kind of market than Knoxville. So let's go look at the bar and grills. I'm going to spread this out a little bit, not just hitting the market square. You can see Cotton Eye Joe here just north of Farragut, and Tennessee Tap House, Twisted Mike's Tap Room, Backdoor Tavern, and then there, Saloon 16. And as you kind of zoom in here, you can see there are a lot of places in that market square in the downtown Knoxville area. And Nashville bars, there is no shortage of them. This is where everybody comes, all the bridal showers, the birthday parties, you name it, graduation, they show up and hit the bars. Everything from honky tonks to here's Kid Rock, Jason Aldean, Luke's 32 Bridge. Garth Brooks is actually opening up a brand new place called Friends in Low Places. It'll open in right around Thanksgiving 2023. And there is no shortage of Wild Horse Saloon, of bars, grills, and things to do. Famous places like Nudies Honky Tonk, and that's not nude, it's a place called Nudies. Dirks Bentley has a place. Miranda Lambert has. There's a lot of bars and grills downtown. Something you're going to want to check out if you're coming to the Nashville area for sure. Even if you're just coming to visit, it'd be a great place to come visit. Okay, so now that you've seen the good and the bad of both Knoxville and Nashville, Nashville does have a higher cost of living, but has more to offer in relationship to entertainment and more housing opportunities. And once you get outside of that metro area, those 4 or 5 little counties in the metro area of Nashville, you can get into some more affordable housing in the $200,000 and $300,000 range, and it's just going to be a little bit more of a drive to go downtown, but you can still be close enough to those pro sport teams and the entertainment and the things that you want to do in that downtown market, if that's something that you're really interested in. Both have great places to live. My personal preference is Nashville, but that's also because I live, work, and play here in the Nashville market. If this has been helpful, I ask that you'll go ahead and like the video. You can check out our other videos here on the channel. We talk about everything. We go around town showing you everything from Clarksville to Murfreesboro to Columbia and Hendersonville. Talk about all things as it relates to Middle Tennessee. Hope this has been a helpful video. Real quick, I wanted to tell you about the 2 places that I wanted to talk about Knoxville and about Nashville. First is Peter Kern Library, and let's go here. There we go. Peter Kern Library, and this is a place that has great cocktails. It's more of a speakeasy kind of place. And then in comparison to that, you have the Sinatra Bar and Lounge, which is in Nashville. So both Knoxville and Nashville have great places for you to check out. It's something you're going to want to do as you're looking at thinking about moving to Nashville or Knoxville or Tennessee in general. Okay, so that's given you a lot of information to think about, some great options for bars and grills to visit if you're ever coming to visit. If you have any other questions and you want to know anything about either market, we can get you connected with the right people. You can reach out to our team, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'll be glad to just even answer your questions if you just want to kind of chat and find out more about the area. Hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you next video. Hope to show you around town.